Welcome back to Arise and Shine. The world today is a complex place. Every day we face threats that feel like we live on the brink of a disaster. But our next guest says there's no need to fear if we're prepared. Aton Edwards is the executive director of the International Preparedness Network, and he's here with the Tools for Survival 101. First of all, I love this little sash you have.
Like this?
Is this part of your survival techniques?
I just did a thing at the Comic-Con, so it's my ode to the Klingon
Nice.
Empire. It's like my ready sash.
Right.
And like when you get into a disaster, you've got to be ready to respond to it instantly.
Okay.
But you can't go fumbling through your pockets. Oh, where's my? You know what I mean?
Right.
So this is like my ready sash, and I just keep my immediate stuff.
And what would be your immediate stuff?
Yeah,
first
is there
thing,
stuff in there right now?
Oh, no, there is.
Okay,
Yeah, it's all cool stuff, though, like
Okay,
this,
cool.
right? Boom, right here, first pocket.
Boom.
When I need this is like a multi-tool.
Right.
Okay.
It's like a Leatherman multi-tool. This is the Rolls Royce.
Oh, I
something
love
like
that.
that.
Yes, I
You
have
like
one of those
these?
because I'm a prepper.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yes,
right. Yeah, that's right. So this is like, when you need to kind of fix, because there's all sorts of things that happen during disasters.
Right.
You never know what's going to break and what you need to fix or what you need to do. And these things really,
I
really
could
help
see
you
how
out.
that could be useful.
So you
can
want
see?
the cutter and it has the knife in it?
Yeah, it's got a knife. It's got a file. It's got the little knife blade. It's got screwdrivers, and you can see all this stuff that you see here.
Right.
It's pretty much everything that you need.
Saw, yeah,
And-
It's like
and,
a very intense version of the Swiss Army knife or something like that.
Right.
Right.
And do you have rope as well? Do you carry rope and a mirror and?
Well, yeah, I carry paracord.
Right.
It's
Paracord, yeah.
like 550-pound test paracord, which is something that you use to wrap stuff up and everything, because you need to tie things down. Oftentimes in disasters, you might have to strap stuff to your car.
Right.
You might have to wrap stuff to a cart. So it's always good to carry some cord.
Obviously, you're very prepared, but this is your career.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think most people are prepared for disasters?
No. And we got to change that. I know that you, Rainey,
Right,
would agree,
yeah.
because unfortunately, we have a mega disaster, a large earthquake in Los Angeles, or even in Central America, where you have it. I mean, in the middle of America,
Right.
you have the New Madrid fault line. And we could have a major earthquake even there in Illinois and all up
I
and
don't
down.
think most people
So
know that.
what are some of the key things that we need to be prepared in our homes?
Well, I think one of the
outside.
things I want to start with
Yes.
is basically the go bag. And you see this bag that I have right here.
And I so wish I brought my go bag today.
Do you?
So I could check to see, do I have what
She'll be taking notes, though. Don't
Would you-
worry.
Well, I mean,
We're
for the
excited.
most part, that the go bag is basically a bag that you're going to have that you can exist outside of your home if you had to evacuate. You never know. It could be an earthquake. It could be anything. You see what happened in Japan.
Or like Hurricane Sandy, right?
Hurricane Sandy.
Coast.
This is the 2-year anniversary of Sandy.
Right.
And a lot of people were displaced from
season's
their
coming
homes.
up.
And
So
again,
would this sort of bag work in that situation if there was a hurricane? do you
Sure,
think?
if you had something like this in your home, then you could basically, if you had to leave it, you'd be able to survive outside of it for at least 7 days.
Oh, wow.
And that's the thing that you've got to, this is one of the most important things you can have. Now, I'll give you an example. So inside of this bag, right off of the bat here, you wouldn't think you could, but you have a small emergency food supply
Right.
and
Okay.
water.
So is it like power bars or what?
No,
so what
it's
is this?
You have emergency water here. You see
Yep.
this? So you have little packets of emergency water just in case
Oh,
you.
yes, it's
Obviously,
water.
you're going to need
freeze-dried
that.
food, right?
Yeah, freeze-dried food. You have a thermal blanket.
Right.
Oh, that's
And
smart, yeah.
Which is
because
really
you never
important.
know if you're going to be out in the extended
In the
period of
elements,
time.
right.
And of course, you have your emergency food, which it's like, look, this is
So-
not this is not
No.
How does
It's
it
not-
work? I mean,
it's not going to taste good.
If
No.
you open it, then what do you do? You just eat whatever's in there?
you can you open it and you eat like a portion of it, and at least you have some sort of nutrition to keep
Like
your energy
sustenance,
going.
yeah.
Right? And the thing is that having these kinds of tools, and of course,
what else?
a flashlight, because during
If
a
the power
catastrophe,
goes
the
out.
power goes down.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be able to navigate your way through darkened hallways. Like I had to actually, when during Sandy, I actually responded to it myself.
Wow.
And we went out to the Red Hook area, and a lot of the hallways were dark. People couldn't walk their dogs, and having a flashlight like this one. This is an interesting one from Life Gear, which actually has. It'll burn for
Like a beacon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right.
So people can find you if you're missing?
Right, because it's funny, you have a beam, but oftentimes you need a beacon.
Right. So let me ask you real quick. So one of the things, let's say I have in my bag, I have stuff I have my food supply, I have my water, I have clothes, I have contact stuff in case for my eyes, I have other medications, like for asthma or that kind of thing, if that were to happen? Is that what you want to have as in your preparedness bag?
You also, of course, you want to have your first aid,
Right.
pain medication. Oftentimes you'll bump into stuff, you'll hurt yourself,
Right.
and oftentimes you can't find pain medication because everybody pulled it off of the shelf.
Right.
You want to make sure that you have an emergency radio so that you can stay in tune.
And what kind
with
of emergency radio?
A hand crank. It's got to be hand crank or solar, because guess what? We're in New York right now, and you have a blackout, you have a power outage, you're not going to find batteries.
Right.
And if you do, you guess
Right.
how much they're going to cost.
Right.
That's true. They'll be a hot commodity for sure.
Yeah. So you've got to have all of these things, and all of these things have to go into this bag. It also has to be light enough where you can carry it.
Right, so it's
For
not
extended
a huge
periods, right.
burden.
Yeah, and you want to make sure that you also have a cart, with the bungee stuff,
Right.
so that if in the event you had to walk a long distance, like after 9/11, a lot of people had to walk like
Right, all
10,
the way
15
to
miles.
Brooklyn
Right.
from Manhattan.
Yeah, so you want to make sure that you can carry this long distances, and having a cart with some bungee cord that you can tie it to, it'll allow you to drag it for long distances as well.
Now, can you get this stuff at, let's say, the dollar store? You know what I mean? How much is the cost of something like this?
Well, so I'm glad you brought the dollar store.
An
Right?
important question.
Well, yeah, you can. These things can go from like the high end
Right.
to the 99-cent store version of the dollar store
Oh, so
version.
you can. Okay.
Oh, yeah, you can find.
You can be prepared on a budget.
Oh, certainly,
Excellent.
That's important.
And that's
It
the
is.
most important thing. There's no excuse for every American home to not have a Go kit. At this point, everybody, I believe, needs to have a Go bag. I actually have a bill that I drafted that, getting sponsors for to actually get in the hopper
Right.
so that we can actually have something to kind of push this initiative so that people would have a Go bag in every household in America.
So speaking of, the average American, should there, when you're looking to buy a home, is there something, with real estate that you should look for in case, there is some sort of disaster in your immediate area?
Yeah, that's a good question, Priya. You know what I would say? You got to check the floodplain maps in your region.
Okay.
Because in a lot of cases, you'll buy a home and you're in an area that's prone to flooding or like hurricanes and such. So check the floodplain maps. Check if you're near fault lines. Check if you're near a nuclear power facility that's aging out.
And
Because
I
a lot
think
of
most
them
people
are.
probably don't think to ask those questions.
No,
right?
not at all.
Yeah.
No, you should. You've got to, especially here, and now a lot of places we're in proximity to nuclear power facilities, and they're getting old, and a lot of them are aging out, so we got to be prepared for that, too.
Right.
So when we think about preparedness, how do we also prepare if we're on the go? Like if we're in our car, if we're on our, we commute somewhere, what can we do?
I advocate like carrying a personal kit. Which is your personal preparedness kit, which is a scaled down go bag.
Right.
Like you see this tool, you have a multi-tool, and then you have a small flashlight,
Right.
and then you have a little bit of cord, and then you have a match, you have like a lighter. I have some other stuff. I don't want to pull that out. It's like a town car. We just
Right. Keep
pulling stuff
going.
out of things. But you have this, and you carry it with you. You carry it in your purse.
Okay.
Men, you can put it on your belt. It doesn't take up much space. It can be very small.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you are your own first responder.
Right.
So when the disaster strikes, you don't know where you'll be. You could be any place.
And you don't have time to run around and just go grab all this stuff. You should have it ready. That's what
Yeah.
you're advocating for.
Yeah, and you don't want to be
essentially.
like, I've got a great go bag, but it's in my house.
Right. Good point. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Thank you so much for your tips. I feel like
really
I learned a
important,
ton, and I know Rain is going to go home and check her go
And I'll
bag.
help you out to build one.
Yeah.
Put one together.
And I think that this is something that we've all got to do. I would say to your audience in America that we have got to be prepared as a nation, that it's not only something that I think that we should do, it's something we must do.
Right.
And we can't allow for, let's say, certain aspects of it that frighten people off,
Right.
that element that, that is a little bit too extreme.
Right.
But you know what? At the end of the day, when things go bad, they're going to be ready.
Yeah, well, Aton, thank you so much for that valuable information. I feel so much safer already.
Do you? Okay, good.
We have a lot more ahead on Arise and Shine. Are you looking for a job? Looking for a job can be a painful process, but nailing the art of networking will get you back to work in no time. We'll learn how to reach the right people on the road to success. Then we're serving up margaritas with a secret ingredient that may bug you. Just ask the owner of the Black Ant restaurant.
And as we mentioned, today's the New York City Marathon. How do runners train to run a 26.2 miles? One step at a time. You can do it too. We'll show you how to build a running regime. So get up and get on time.